Oh, hello, everybody. First the greeting, then the branding. No. Yeah, Bulyamti here on my bicycle, looking at the rustic, pastoral gorgeosity of springtime in Portugal. That's cool. That guy's gonna, off-road it in his tractor right up the hill there, digging a deep ditch while he does it. Wonder if he's gonna have any luck with that. He's supposed to spray the field. I think he's gonna go around to a different way in. Yeah, that's not gonna work. The ground's too soft. See that? Because we've had some serious, or maybe he's going to drive off the mud and then try again. So we've had so much rain. You get a few days of sun, and then it's cloudy like this a lot, and then you get a week of non-stop rain. Why? Who knows? Weather, so mysterious. A complex, adaptive, distributed system. Unpredictable. That's a fun thing. You could just study complex, adapted, distributed systems, CAD systems. They relate to everything: biology, physics, flocks of birds, computers. It's a cool subject, man. And it's one of the reasons why we can't predict what's going to happen with our man-made anthropocentric polycrisis, because we don't know what those feedback loops and tipping points look like. We can't predict it. We don't have enough processing power to do that. What will be, man. But it's not going to be a soft landing. I've given up on that. It's not going to be. 2 articles I read today, very good. By the way, I'm heading over to a winery. Hopefully I can find it. I do have the map on my phone if I need it, and I should probably avail myself of it sooner than later, but well, we shall see. Again, it's like, which way do I go? I should probably decide up here in this town. But anyhow, hola. So I read 2 good articles when I woke up this morning. One was about the Vatican Bank, and this guy wrote a really incredible book about that. It's big, it's in depth, it's fascinating, and you don't realize, about papal Vatican, or not even Vatican. They didn't, just how the Catholic, Church was financed over the centuries, and how Mussolini was the guy who really gave back some property to the church, and that when the Vatican became a state and all that. And the Vatican Bank, the history of how that got started, some quote, the guy said something like, you can't run the Catholic Church on Hail Marys or something like that. We're going to need more than prayer. Like, Pope Francis was a lovable pope, in my opinion. And he was sweet, had a great smile. And, he did a town hall with Americans. And he said he was going to pray for the Americans, and I don't know if the prayers worked. I kind of think that prayers don't hurt, they can't hurt. Prayers aren't bad, but we're going to need more than prayers to make it through the next 20 years without having a whole heck of a lot of chaotic pain befall us. And I mean that because people who are forced to live in indignity and pain and suffering for too long tend to rebel. No matter how much control. You know, in the old days, it was probably easy to control people using religious belief systems, right? Faith in God, mystery religions, and myths, and so on, help to cohere communities around certain narratives. All that was good. And as time went on, it's interesting how the church, or these belief systems, religiosity, religious beliefs, kind of led into science, and then how science led into more complexity and energy use and material use, and then how our belief systems and narratives have to be updated to work on us. And so now we have all kinds of tools of propaganda that are amazing, and we can and do, people in power use them to control our beliefs and so on and so forth. But anyway, that was a fascinating piece. The Vatican, and then Indica wrote a piece where he started off with referencing Carlyle, which is Curtis Yarvin's boy. He loves Carlyle. Carlyle was into the great man of history thing, and Indica was basically saying, oh my God, great man of history. He's saying, what if we're all just stupid? What if we've finally gotten to the point where we've relied on stupidity for so long? You know, the corrupt elite, that only the idiots are in charge now. So you can't have a great man of history. You have to have, you know, a great fool, the great fools of history and their ilk. Anyway, both of those articles are inadvertent takedowns of Curtis Yarvin's whole thing. You know, monarchy, all that kind of stuff. Because it just shows how the whole romantic vision that he has of Queen Elizabeth I and people like Thomas Carlyle are just nonsense. It's just bullshit. And it doesn't hold up to 21st century rigors of complexity and so on. So, yeah, it just takes apart his thing. I tweeted at him. I don't know if he doesn't give a shit if I tweet at him. But anyway, yeah, so that's going to be a thing. So I put the map on. I just don't want to go around in circles and run out of charge. Because you see these hills here. That's why the push electric bike is good. When you're on the flat, you can turn off the motor. It's got a good enough gear ratio for that. And then these hills, old geezer needs this motor. But as I always say, on my way back, I don't want to run out of juice, because I'll be pushing this thing up the hills. Yeah. And some of these hills are pretty long, like this one. It's beautiful though. Beautiful place. Yeah, so Indica really brilliantly lays out a case for how stupid governance is now, and governors, and how the heads of our institutions, from corporations to governments, are idiots. I think part of it is the audience capture also. The feedback loops between the propaganda, what the people want to believe, what they're programmed to believe, and then that loops back onto the people who produce the propaganda and the people who play for the team that's producing the propaganda, and then they start to believe it, drink the Kool-Aid, and then they start feeding back more dumb shitness. And so the polity, constituents, the leaders, all become stupid. And they get dumber and dumber and dumber every minute of every day. The Hegseth thing that happened yesterday, he has a meltdown because he's being accused of not following security protocols when he's, chatting on unsecure chats about military operations against Yemen and whatnot with his wife in the chat and all this shit. These people are such idiots. And he melts down. Fake news, bullshit. The Democrats are just trying to destroy everything. I'm trying to redo the Pentagon. It's just like Trump trying to negotiate trade deals with 3,000 or 300 countries. I know it's exaggeration, but one trade deal would take years, and it's a serious thing to deal with. So instead, he just stops all business goings on.
In 500 meters, turn right onto Rua de São Blas, Rua de São Blas.
So, you just throw a monkey wrench into the whole global trading system and then see what happens. So his metaphor was, it's like a dog chasing a car, finally catches the car, but doesn't know what the fuck to do with it. What does a dog do with a car, right? So it's just all so dumb. But people think they're smart, Millions and millions of people think they're smart. So that's the feedback loop. Idiot leaders doing idiot things, and everybody believes them. And where's your great man of history? That's what I always said to Curtis, is like, our culture doesn't produce great men or women of history. that ended a long time ago, if it ever existed at all. You have good and bad emperors, one following after the other. You have good and bad kings. Everybody's inbred and stupid. And
Rua de São Blas, Rua de São Blas. Then turn left onto Rua de Santa Maria.
yeah, so these things often get me confused, these maps. I know where I am, more or less. But I just don't want to get the details wrong.
Continue for 3 kilometers.
So that's where we're at. And then everybody just thinks business as usual is something we should be fighting for, when business as usual got us into this predicament. So why does doing the same thing imply a solution to anything? I mean, it was always screwed up. You can argue about the details, whether the 60s were more or less screwed up than the 30s or whatever. Like I always say, throw a dart at a historical timeline on a globe and then do your own research. Use your Gemini tool or whatever you've got. Yeah, Alvarinha, I like this town. This is a nice little town. So, you know, there are degrees of good and bad. Nothing's perfect ever, but the not so perfect business as usual that's been going on since we got lucky and found oil and gas and coal and all that, and heat-powered machines. The civilization has heat engine. It's a blip, as Tom Murphy says, a blip in time. I mean, in the lifetime of humans and the lifetime of our species, it's a sneeze in terms of its timing, and it's like a sneeze that implies an explosion. You know, you're like, and then when you sneeze, it all blows up at the end of the day. But people don't care about that because, you know, it's a beautiful day, got a bicycle. Why should we care? But it does seem that we're dumbing down. So Curtis Yarvin and his ilk, the neo-reactionaries and all these tech bros and all these trad dudes and whatnot, they can get excited because they won, but they really lost because the people that they're rooting for have no solution to anything that's real and anything that's truly an existential threat and truly ruins the lives of ordinary people. The elite might be able to have more fun for quite a while, but at the end of the day, people get pushed too far and bad things happen. It's just a horror story. You see all these crazy neo-Nazi groups on the Chans doing insane things. They're so nihilistic and angry and hateful, and they really think that their team is worthy of saving for some reason. And everybody forgets the history of Europe and how nightmarish it all was, you know? The beautiful Catholic Church and the wonderful, smiley, lovely Pope, the progressive Pope. But you look back at the whole history of the thing, you know, I'm the God King, and all the other God Kings have to put me ahead of them, and all the weird little rivalries, King Henry VIII and all this shit. This is nice up here, man. Nice neighborhood. Ooh, I like it. Hey, very nice. All the houses here are very clean and in good repair. It's a little pocket of Northern Europe style commitment to maintenance. And that's another thing. If you don't maintain things, they fall apart. And where are they doing that? They're not. Things are falling apart because they don't maintain things. And this is not good. And of course, even to maintain business as usual requires a lot of energy. And so we're going to need more and more every year. And eventually that's not going to pan out because we're borrowing these finite resources from the future, which is to say from sustainability and posterity. So at the end of the day, you have a nightmare. You know, I mean, look, the little Europeans played around with their toys in the sandbox, and eventually you had World War I, and then they played around a little bit more. You had World War II. These were horrific conflagrations. We want one more of those now, only this time started with China. Because America can't compete because they're too stupid. Americans have just dumbed down to such a horrific degree that they have no clue about how things work. And you know, I think everyone should read Tom Murphy's textbook to understand how things work. Not that anyone gives a shit about where their food comes from and the fishies in the sea and their you know, marine biology and ecology. Not that anyone gives a fuck, but you know, there's that. Whoa, fucking beautiful. Look at the poppies, watermelons. Oh my God. I mean, look, I'm not complaining. I like life. My life's good. I'm just so disappointed that we have to be so stupid. Now let's see what I have to do here. I have to turn.
In 100 meters, slight right toward Rua du Moinho. Slight right toward Rua du Moinho. Then turn left onto Rua du Moinho.
Son of a bitch. This beautiful view. Isn't that nice? Balsam de Meaux. And you have this, years ago this was dilapidated. And they rebuilt it. It's really nice. They have a WC here. How thoughtful. Definitely have to come here and barbecue. This is a very nice 360-degree view here. Look at that. Amazing, eh? You get lost despite the map and you find something nice. Okay, it seems like the arrow's pointing in the right direction now. Jesus, I'm a hopeless mofo.
Take the next left onto Bico das Figueiras, Rua das Figueiras.
Yeah, so it kind of takes all the reactionary out of the reactionary. It's difficult to know your orientation on this. If you look at the map, I try just to listen to the directions because if I look at it, here's a nice place. It's pretty fancy. I'll bet that's a B&B or something. Yeah, they got a swimming pool down there. Nice place to stay on a holiday. This little spot. It doesn't matter if you get lost, it's fun. I just get frustrated using the technology because check this out. This is very nice. Wow. And check the view that this place has. Yeah, that is special. And here's the view from here. Whew, so nice. Better get out of the way. Wow, that's very nice. That spot. So with these complex adaptive emergent systems and distributed feedback loops thing we got going on here in this world, you have no idea how quick the Jenga blocks are going to fall. Because of the complexity in culture, technology, all the natural systems that are connected to that. Nothing's disconnected, right? Everything affects everything. So we don't know where the tipping points are. We don't know what's going to happen when we hit them.
Take the second right onto Corte. In 300 meters, turn left onto Strada Municipal 567-1.
So, but people just don't care. They're oblivious. That's why ignorance is bliss and believing shit is more comfortable and fun and nice than learning stuff or questioning things. I think about, years ago, a long time ago, more than, 15 years ago, and I used to listen to Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. And I used to go to the Skeptics in the pub in Hong Kong. And I was always laughing because people learning about skepticism, the popular kind, always felt that they were smarter than other people just because they were exploring skepticism or critical thinking.
Strada Municipal 567-1 for 800 meters.
So, 750 meters. And the fact is, we all suffer from the same human thought glitches, mental glitches. None of us are immune to it. And it takes a great deal of diligence to monitor one's thinking and slow down and try to figure out if you're on the right track in your reasoning and whatnot. But people don't care about facts or numbers or reality. They want to feel something, right? I want to feel that I own the libs. I want to feel that the deplorables are idiots. I want to feel all this shit. And it's funny how things backfire, because we're trying to create a war with China because we don't know what else to do. Our business model is the Department of War. And so we try to snow the people, con them into thinking that China's out to get you personally. And then people can go on the internet and find out that that's not true. And they have questions. Like, I have questions about all this. I don't know if those damn Chinese peoples is really that bad. And so, it's like they start to ask questions, do their own research. And then they don't hate them that much.
In 600 meters, turn left onto Winery region.
Well, I'm winding around some pretty nice places. I feel like I'm going in circles. Around here, if you don't know where you're going, you're always going in circles. So then, it backfires. People are like, no, I don't think so. And then it's like, how do we convince people to join the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines so we can go fight a war? Because the brilliant, 5D chess genius game theory that Americans employ now is, we'll just get the Japanese and people, the Filipinos, the Australians to fight. and it's funny, after a while even the Japanese are going, America's painted a target on our back with a nuclear powered superpower. but America's still stronger than China. We're just so much stronger. Yeah, you're stronger, but you can't catch and hold anything or achieve any of your results once you caught the car. You know, you don't get anything out of Libya, really. And you're definitely not going to capture and control China, ever. So it doesn't matter if your military's on paper more powerful. They got nukes. North Korea has nukes. Anyway, so the Australians and the Japanese like, yeah, paint a target on my back, bro. We'll take one for the Uncle Sam. Meanwhile, all these countries with a target painted on their back are making deals with China. Because they know what color money is. So it's not very helpful, you know. It's like, I don't know if we want to do that. Of course, Taiwan's a write-off. If you want to start the war because of Taiwan for some stupid reason, even though Taiwan doesn't have an embassy anywhere in the world, Taiwan gets whacked first, and then what? What are you going to achieve? Nothing. And it's always like, we need health care to beat the Chinese, but we don't care about health care. We need climate change to protect the bases. It's pretty damn silly. Yeah, so at the end of the day, you know that the neo-fascists, neo-reactionaries, all the little business as usual people are all idiots, and they're all piloting a ship with a self-destruct timer on it, and they're incapable of finding that timer and doing anything. I'm lost in a beautiful place. I may never achieve my objective. And the reason you get up in the morning is to achieve your objective. And I might not achieve it. How will I live with myself if I don't achieve my objective? I set a goal. Ooh, sure is beautiful. It's getting warm now. It was colder in the morning. Now, that's a beautiful house there. Wow. Really nice. So, you know, if you want absolute rule by an absolute ruler, you can do better than a pope and the Catholic Church. It's a complex, adaptive system, and it's distributed all over the world. The faithful. And people get so excited, you know, it's like fame and fortune. That's what we care about. And of course, well, at least the Catholic Church, maybe some of its members have principles of some sort. It's beautiful, but it's silly because I just gone in a full circle on different roads, which is nice, but a circle nonetheless. And the popes come, and a few of them resign or get taken out, but most of them just stay in office till they die. Lucky, most of them are pretty old when they go in, but whatever. And people are so happy because the church stands for some moral and ethical something or another, as opposed to people in the States, leaders in the States that have no principles whatsoever. They change on a whim, on a dime, literally on a dime, more like literally on $100,000 donation to their campaign or job offer. I've got some landmarks that I recognize. So these days the laborers are Africans from the former colonies. They're all here working on the houses. Which makes sense. I still have a feeling that Portugal is going to be a kinder, gentler place when the revolution kicks off. Unfortunately, like I said before, it's going to be a chaotic revolution. Stochastic, terror everywhere, chaos. Because you can't really educate the right kind of people in this dumbed down world and have them cohere to a coherent and logical and reasonable ideology with some kind of plan for the future. But regardless, no one's gonna address the elephant and the elephant shit. It's gonna be messy, but I think around here people will be a little bit cooler. I keep thinking about the Carnation Revolution and how that played out. I don't think the army here is going to kill their own people if some weirdo gets into office. And they have a different system of government here, so.
Turn right onto Rua Principal, then slide right onto Strada Principal.
Oh man. Now it seems like oh, I think this is it here. This might be it. Wow, I actually did make it. Maybe? Yeah, and I have half a tank of juice. So if I'm careful, I'll make it back. Well, check it out. Isn't this nice? Oh no, this isn't it.
Continue for 2 kilometers.
Huh? Okay. Well, that wasn't my destination. I'm in chaos. Chaos, I tell you, chaos. I love Heath Ledger's Joker, The Dark Knight. That was the best Batman ever. He's talking about chaos, and he was the guy who said, I'm just a dog chasing a car. What am I going to do with the car? I don't have any plans. I don't have any strategies. You guys are the ones with the plans and strategies that keep fucking everything up. What a genius movie, man. This guy's got his face burned off, flips a coin, and Heath goes, now we're talking. Fucking cool, man. Well, I can't say anything bad about the countryside. I'm in Es a Verdad. Yeah, so Carnation Revolution, I don't think it's going to be as ugly. It's going to be hard, difficult. But people here know how to swim. They've had bad times. In Europe, it's a relatively poor country. I think they're going to get mad at the foreigners first, because coming here, buying all the real estate, and the government not making any housing for people, which is typical when you have hedge funds buying up places. If I were the boss, Airbnb would go tomorrow, and I would have that company closed down, pay off the shareholders, and shutter it, make it globally illegal. You have to think about your people and housing. You can't sell it to hedge funds and big corporations, publicly held corporations, and have them manage housing across the globe. It's sick. I've used Airbnbs, but damn, it makes me feel weird. It's always better if you find a nice, like these little rural hotels I've been passing that are, the owner, it's like a B&B, the owner runs them. I have several friends who have these places. It's really nice. What? What? This is the first right, this is the second right. So check out this place. This is nice. See? There's a Philharmonica here. There's a patriotic soldier there called Continue
for 4 kilometers.
Well, I know I'm in the right area. It's just going to be tricky going home. Yeah, I'm definitely going in the right direction. I don't know how they're going to fix all that stuff. Chinese corporations, American corporations own a lot of the utilities and properties and so on. Idiots in the States complain about Chinese owning land. The foreign investment, land ownership in the States is not largely Chinese by any stretch. But, they have to use every means necessary to drum up fear against the Celestials. And, you go back to the 19th century, the labor that built the railroads. You need these people to come in and do your work for you so the capitalists can make a buck. And then you boot them out. That's just reverse colonialism for you, and that's what the country's built on. There's no industrial strategy, and in a world in overshoot already, with limits to growth being the rule, not the exception, an industrial strategy moving forward would involve a lot of degrowth and reimagining what growth is and what we should be investing in and building that's sustainable, right? But that's not going to happen. That won't happen. We'll just keep the business as usual thing going until we hit some of these tipping points. And once it gets really, really, really ugly, it's too late. And it's already too late. I think it is already ugly. And we don't know exactly why people have dumbed down to such an incredibly crazy degree. And endocrine disruptors and all that, and nobody cares. You know, it's like, could we be healthy if we did things slightly different with healthcare? You know, I'm all for science-based, evidence-based medicine, but it has to be sustainable. It has to have the right kind of governance and institutions to ensure that it's safe practices all around. And what we should be focused on is living a lifestyle that's extremely healthy. So here we go. Hola, bom dia. So, Corte de Vinho. Okay, people are pruning now. They're pruning the trees, getting ready for all the growth that's going to happen. Yeah, so I think people would be healthier. And then, you know, if you were one of the unlucky ones who needed an antibiotic or a bone set or trauma surgery or something like that, you could get it. And it would be democratic, and it would be available to the people. What's going to happen is it'll be available to the 1%, and the rest of us can just go suck it. Which is going to be bad. And again, you know, the Hunger Games, right? I mean, at some point, the gated communities aren't going to be safe. But think about all the technology they have. You know, the governments and corporations and militaries. It's pretty amazing. So they will have drones, ways to track us. None of this is conspiratorial. It's just, you know, obvious. They can read license plates, and they can, you know, they have motion detections, algorithms that can tell how a target walks. So even if the target's in disguise, they can make out by various data points that they're following the right person. They're following the correct target. Yeah, I mean, I'm on the radar right now. But so it is going to be a tough battle. But at the end of the day, the physics and the biology that, you know, the ecology, all of the life support systems, everyone's dependent on it, right? Just because you're rich doesn't mean you can't get COVID or cancer or whatever. Whew, this is one crazy way to go. So even though they think they've got all their stratagems and their genius ideas, I can't, you know, the fact that so many people tolerate what's going on in the United States over the last, you know, well, since Reagan, it's just unbelievable. And it tells you so much about how people are, you know, human nature, if they're going to tolerate this nonsense. It doesn't bode well for the future. And I do believe now, like I didn't before, a year ago, you know, under the regime, the energy regime, we all depend on now. In other words, modern techno-industrial capitalism. It has a, you know, it's past its sell date. And it's not going to be an ending like Karl Marx envisioned. It's just going to be an ongoing crash with a whole bunch of chaotic madness involved. And there's not much there in terms of what to do to pick up the pieces. And we don't know how catastrophic the crash will be at the end of the day over the next decades. You know, how bad is it going to be for your grandchildren? I mean, what's going to be left? And, you know, if you're a techno-optimist, anarcho-capitalist, you don't care. Because you got your Star Trek fantasies going. And you know better. You'll be immortal. So, you know, I'm just a dumb pleb who doesn't know shit. But I think these people are ignorant as hell, and they don't know it, they don't want to know it. Whew, sure is nice over here, man. I got a long way to go home, because I'm on the other side of Caldas de Reina. I have to wind back around towards the west.
In 200 meters, turn left onto N114.
Woo, jeez. I'm serious. My God. I know what part of the world I'm in. It's further than I thought. So, on the way out, it doesn't hurt as bad. I know exactly where I am now. And I'll go back a different way. It may not be as... I gotta avoid the windy way because it's really not gonna do me any favors. Just go back away. I can manage.
1 kilometer.
Huh? So, yeah, here, this is a really nice part of the world over here. It's very nice. In the Caldas de Reina region, this area over here, away from the ocean, is really, really gorgeous. Hills and vineyards and orchards. It's very beautiful over here, and it's not as populated as the coastal Silver Coast area is. It's a more attractive place to people because of the beaches nearby. But if you don't mind being a little further inland, it's really, really beautiful. These villages down here. So, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to see yeah, it's gonna be a rough ride home. But you know, sometimes you get so close to your destination, you just don't want to give up. I do know the next time I do this, how to do it. It may not be the quickest route on Google Maps, but it's easier to navigate, make fewer wrong turns, and that goes easy on your battery life. So on here, I don't have to use my battery. That's what I mean. Because on the flat, you have enough gears to roll along. I'm riding a Specialized mountain bike.
In 200 meters, turn right onto Rua João Paulo II, Travessa da Regia.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so close now. I just don't want to. I don't want to turn back. So I'll just have to.
Rua João Paulo II, Travessa da Regia.
So let's see where I'm at here. You know, looking at the map confuses me. I just have to turn where it tells me to turn, and then I'll be okay.
Turn right onto Travessa da Regia, then turn left onto Rua João Paulo II. Take the next left onto Rua João Paulo 2, Travessa da Igreja.
Okay. This is...
Slight left onto Rua 25 de Abril.
Corte. Whew. This is bloody beautiful, man.
Take the next left onto Rua 25 de Abril, and your destination will be on the right.
Holy cow. I'm glad I didn't give up. I made it. What do I have to do here? This way? Yeah? Okay. See how pretty this is? And see, not so many big villages and houses, more rolling hills and trees. And I used to ride around here a lot when I was in Aros Negros. So you can see all the grapevines down here to the winery.
Your destination is on the right.
Oh, so it's up there, I see. So I wonder if I have to ride up this hill. Probably. So let's do that. See if there's another road that goes up there, probably. Yeah, I think I'm at the wrong spot. I'm at the reception for people. See, they have a little wine tasting area here. This building is a loja, escritorio, office. So I'm going to see if I can go up the hill to where the inn, they have a little inn. You can actually stay. I'll take this phone and shut this thing down. Good riddance, Google Maps. Goodbye bye. Goodbye bye, Google. Well, it's good to have the trip saved, you know, on the maps. So that's the office and a little shop. I want to go up to the reception area. Yeah, so my vision is that people find ways to cooperate again. Oh no. Yeah. Man, it's nice. They have their little mini hotel on the top of this hill here, which is kind of ideal. Shit. I know which way I'm going to go home because it's flat. Woo, I got two big hills at the end of this ride. So I'm going to have to ride no battery for as much as possible. And it's going to take a while to get back, an hour and a half, I think. Lucky I made pork and bean stew, Thai style, with Thai spices. So when I get home, I'll eat well. I'll be hungry. All right. So here we are. Now this is bloody gorgeous. Wow. I'm telling you, man. When my TV series wins awards, if I make the right deal, I'll have to buy a place like this. A cooperativo. Cooperativo. Is that the place? No. Further down. Let's see here. There it is. That should be it. This whole little village is like part of the infrastructure of this Corte. Well, it's all shuttered. So it doesn't look like I'm going to be having any refreshments here. But the view is beautiful. Just have a look. I don't know why this place, maybe, yeah, it's not operating today. Maybe Tuesdays are off. It's probably what the deal is. I came on an off day. Yeah, so all along this hill is the infrastructure for this. Yeah, so I found my destination. Bit of a disappointment. Maybe Tuesday's not a good day to go. Should have checked that in the maps. But it's something new and a new adventure. So yeah, this whole place up here on the hill is related to this winery, and on the left side here there are a lot more vineyards. So it's a limited production, family owned winery. Hola, bon dia. And charming location, typical countryside Portugal. Check out this view over here. Isn't that nice? I just can't say a bad thing about it. The other thing I love about riding my bicycle over here is that there's not much traffic and people drive pretty well. I mean, they don't stress me out much. I'm very nice to cyclists, obviously, and the drivers here are pretty nice to me. It's all pretty good. So yeah, I'm just gonna go back down because I'm gonna have to manage my power very carefully on the way back. It's gonna take me a long time. That's the one anxiety you have with these bikes. If you run out of juice, they're heavy. The battery is very heavy. So it's pretty scary. Walking back. Oh, yeah, okay. Walking back. You don't have to walk all the time. You just have to walk up the hills. So as you see, it's flat. So no juice. Man, the last, this is not going to work for me today. This is not good. I'm in trouble. That's another thing about these electric vehicles, is that the batteries don't last forever, and as they get older, they don't last as long on a charge, and they're not as strong either. And then the cost of replacing the battery is almost like, well, just buy a new bike. Because the battery will be a better battery, lasts longer, it's a new generation of bike, trade it in and get a new one. So it's like material, right? Wastage. I'm sure there's a good second-hand market for these, but you still have to have a battery in it when you sell it. So yeah, electrification's not going to work, folks. I used to think it might, but I was wrong. When you look into it more carefully, it would work if we had less people on the planet and a different socioeconomic system, and a lot of things would have to change. And once you make all those changes, you're not living in the world that you know anymore. You're living in a different world. But you know, like Tom Murphy was talking about, you compare the 50s to now, and it's not that big a jump, really. I mean, we got a lot of things people might not have been able to imagine in the 50s, but in the 50s we had radio and television and all kinds of stuff. But if you go from now to the Middle Ages, you'll see a huge difference. So moving forward, you wouldn't have to see that gigantic a difference if you could manage the redesign and redeployment of culture. And people are just too resistant, too ignorant to see it. I mean, you think about all these leaders now, forget about it. Their bread isn't buttered by changing the system that they're doing well in. You can't change a person's mind if their paycheck depends on believing what they believe. So that's a no-go situation, folks. It's one of those good luck with that type of things. Peter Joseph always focusing on the social problems and the economic thing, but he doesn't really understand the energy mix either. He doesn't get it. So, Jesus Christ. Now if I go this way, I'm gonna be all up in the hills and whatnot. Oh God, I don't think I can do it on this battery. So I'm gonna have to go into Caldas and then take this route that's more in the valley, and that'll allow me to not use the battery for many kilometers, which will give me enough juice at the end of the day to get up those hills. Because this way, at least, it's not the fastest, most direct route, but it's flat, so I turn off my battery and ride the bicycle. Man, it's times like these you wish you could call someone and say, "Can you pick me up?" And they come and meet you. You send them a pin at a cafe, and they come and meet you. You throw your bike in the back of the pickup truck. Hey. I should buy one of these. There's a battery that you can get that fits into the water holder and plugs in. So you can use up that battery first and then use your main battery. That would do a lot, actually. That would extend the range quite a bit. Yeah, I should do that because my battery's getting old, just like I'm getting old. Yeah, so whatever you do to get through things, because you know, you think I'm a doomist or a doomer or something, or the sky is falling, Chicken Little. No, but I think people intuitively understand many things are wrong, and it's not heading in the right direction, and that all the things we've been promised for years and years and years have never panned out, and for decades and decades, and we're repeating the same old mistakes, like Gilded Ages and robber barons and all that stuff, and it will end badly for the vast majority of people. I mean, you know, the nightmare scenario is when a lot of people start starving to death all over the place, and there's nothing you can do about it. There'll be patches for a long time, I think, where certain kinds of people will have a better life, but it won't be accessible. It'll be accessible to fewer and fewer people over the years, and eventually even they're going to run out. And it's just kind of sad that we're still being promised all this bullshit that's not going to pan out for us, and we believe it. We're just incapable of having any agency of getting together and thinking our way through the crisis and doing something about it. So the best we can do is, like, if you're thinking ahead, you've got little children and you want to develop some intentional community that's a little bit more rooted and robust and well, independent in a way, you know, like you share tools and stuff like that. You grow food. But still, the civilizational substrate is the same, right? So you know, it still ends up in the same place, and you're still part of that lattice work, that network of civilization. There's no way out of it. You still have to pay taxes. You know, the boss man, the owners, they're still gonna be like, you know, Lord over y'all. This place up here is a good place to buy your lawnmower, your weed whackers, stuff like that. This shop is famous. It's famous around here. That's a good way back too, but I'm scared. I have to look at the sign. Convenient. Yeah, so you can see how slow I'm going, right? Because I gotta manage my power situation. I think about it, you know, just how local things are gonna be. I think when it comes to utilizing horses again. How big will your world be then? You know, you have to have a good road bike. You can still ride 75 clicks or whatever, 75K, but you know, you won't have any battery power. And look at this gent. He's got to push that wheelbarrow up the hill. Caloric energy. And all of us in civilization use a heck of a lot more calories per day than a normal, well-fed human body. And we take it all for granted. You have to read Tom Murphy's textbook, dothemath.org, San Diego State University. He retired. Lucky man. Hoo-wee. Nice birds. Yeah, so all the guys who understand what's what and talk about it, Reese, Hagen's, blah, blah, blah. No one's willing to notice the elephant and gorilla shit in the room, which is, you know, our socioeconomic and cultural condition or way of life, system, structures, and they have no clue how to reform it or change it, what to replace it with. And if you don't address that, you can forget about the rest of it. I mean, it's just nothing will happen. What we do is the whole idea about the green thing is like, honestly, if you can make money on some green thing, you can play that out. But what they're doing now in the West, and China too, I think, is preparing ways to adapt to 3C, to whatever the poly-crisis brings. We have to adapt to it. We can't stop it, because to stop it, we'd have to give up our system. And we can't do that because my paycheck depends on the system. So we would just adapt. We'll have different kinds of houses and buildings, different kinds of heaters and air conditioners, and whatever. That's the idea. A lot of farmland will be destroyed, unusable, but that's okay. A lot of people will starve, there'll be fewer people, and we can move to where the land is good. And the rest of us rich people can live pretty damn good. I'm sorry, folks, that didn't work out for you where you are, but that's life. And they always couch it in terms of like J.D. Vance, the peasants, the savages. They're just savages. They're just peasants. They were going to die anyway. Without the colonial overlords to help them understand how to live, how to be an omnicidal heat engine. That's the mentality we're dealing with. So, with that, you really don't have much of a chance. You would have to have people around the world network together saying, we want something else, we're going to make it happen. This system's got to go. It would be the most powerful movement in history. And it's never worked. And usually these movements, like think of religion, for example, the Christianization of Europe, took centuries. And so the communists and socialists tried for decades to do something different, and they didn't make it at all. And then capitalism was declared the winner and the end of history, and we know the story. And then we arrive here, and it's supposed to be Jetsons, right? Free energy, replicators making your cheeseburgers for you, Beyond Meat, all that stuff. And it's just not happening, folks. Not happening. And these people would have to say, I'm willing to die for these principles, for this cause, because I care about justice and truth and reality and the future. Nobody's going to do that. Like I said, I don't think people are going to line up and volunteer at the recruitment center to go to war against China. We'll see. But Europe's been talking tough for a long time, and I just don't see armies crossing the border into Ukraine to fight the Russians. So they're just full of shit, trying to keep their jobs.